Last week we didn't get any new concept art, but Nintendo did reveal another piece of holiday art. There was a screenshot that got everyone hyped because it revealed the recurring character Beedle. Still, the screenshot tells us a lot more interesting details. Also last week, there were some rumors that may excite American fans but concern European ones. You're watching Zelda Pot Smashers. I was expecting some new concept art again last Friday. In fact, it was a reason to delay my weekly analysis video. But it's Sunday now and we didn't get it after all. For a while, a buddy from Zelda Universe actually fooled me with his own art. I was expecting concept art for the stable that was on the screenshot, or maybe some art for Beedle. With such a big game, there has to be enough art to show something every week until the game launches. So there probably is another reason that they didn't show anything this week. Perhaps they're too busy preparing the Switch event? Onto the screenshot. As tons of people have already pointed out, this NPC here almost has to be Beedle. Same haircut, same pants, equipment that matches a merchant, and even his backpack is shaped like a beetle. With a huge backpack like that, Beedle sure is one strong guy. I guess he already proved that in Skyward Sword, where he pedaled fast enough to keep his whole wooden ship flying. Could he be from Holland like me? I wonder what that thing is that's hanging from a stick coming from his backpack. Some kind of bell to announce his presence? Or maybe a little lamp to give him light at night? What puzzles me about this screenshot: why would Nintendo reveal a recurring character with a low resolution screenshot like this? It's like they don't care, as if it's nothing special. So how many more familiar faces are going to show up like this? They already suggested that the Happy Mask salesman might show up. I'm sure this game will be full with references to older games. If you want to know how I think Nintendo will explain this, I finished my timeline theory a few days ago. Check it out if you haven't already. I wonder how Beedle will move around in this game. He has been in 5 earlier games, and in 4 of them he traveled around. So for Breath of the Wild, can he always be found at these stables? Will you ever meet him just in the wild? And will he sometimes not be at the stables? If so, then he will probably sell things that we won't need very often. Alright, let's talk about this tent. I'll call it a stable from now on, because that's what the sign says in Hylian. The stable looks like the one we saw in the Life in the Ruins trailer, but it's not the same one. It's in a different location. The mountains in the background, for example, give it away. Those are not on the Great Plateau or anywhere near it. Fellow analyst Engineering Hyrule has probably found the exact location. For that, check out the link in the description below. We can also spot some differences in details here. There is a small windmill here that isn't visible in this shot. And what is that thing on top of the horse's nose? For a moment I thought it could be a new kind of Korok, but those are invisible until Link finds them and presses the A button. It could be a pair of birds where one sits and the other flies away, but what it mostly looks like is this, an ancient flower from Skyward Sword. Either way, it looks like Link will have to climb up there to do some inspection. Despite it being a different stable, that cooking pot and bench are in the same spot, and so might this tree be. It probably means that Nintendo is copy-pasting assets in their game before adapting each one to give it its own look. In Skyward Sword, the bazaar had a similar construction method, a wooden base covered with canvas. Inside you could find all kinds of merchants. It looks like the stables will have a similar function, next to something to do with horses. What's nice about these stables is how recognizable they are from a distance. They always look the same, like how McDonald's and Starbucks are easily recognizable. What I'm missing in such hubs is a place to sleep. With a hotspot in the wilderness, you'd expect some kind of inn. We don't see it in this shot, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not too far away. In fact, here in the distance you see further signs of civilization. There's something human-made on that rock wall. This looks like a bridge, and these might be people or pillars. And is that a huge cave behind it all? It could be, but it might be another hill. It's too hard to see. Back to the stable. What's the deal with these horses? So far, Breath of the Wild has always felt very alive. There's always movement everywhere, everything is wild and breathing. And then there are these horses. Different colors, but the exact same pattern, the exact same stance. Are they even real horses? Or are they maybe statues? Or perhaps Nintendo had to quickly place them there just for this screenshot? I talked a little bit about the stables and horses in previous videos. Did you catch this awesome horse trick that Link did in the Switch reveal trailer? Horses are going to be so good in this game. A viewer has suggested that we could be taming wild horses to sell them to these stables. Perhaps we'll slowly provide horses to the NPCs in this world? Another possibility is that you can swap out your horse for a different one. Although I don't think I'll use that ability. I like sticking to one horse. Another idea I've read is that we'll keep losing our tamed horse until we find or buy or win Epona. I find that unlikely. Nate and Bill said at E3 that you can catch a horse and then name it. Why name it if it runs away and you have to catch a new one? I might do a separate analysis video about how horses work in this game. Tell me if you'd be interested in that. Even though there was no new concept art this week, we did get new holiday art on New Year's Day. The whole picture is a tribute to the art of the original Legend of Zelda. With Breath of the Wild, they finally achieved what they envisioned 31 years ago. You can see a few Sheikah towers here. That flock of birds flying in a V formation, that's actually in the game. I expect it to be purely decorative and not actually birds that you can hunt, that land somewhere, etc. Still, details like this make the game look so alive. What we don't see here is the giant of Death Mountain, but it must be on the other side of the crater right now. I'm wondering, why is Link looking at Death Mountain in this picture? In the past, Nintendo stressed how the twin peaks from the original game art are now in the game. And here, Link is looking at Death Mountain and the surrounding rock formations. Did someone at Nintendo decide that the original art didn't show the twin peaks after all? Or, the most likely scenario, did the artist just think, I like these rocks better? I have to say here that I never really saw twin peaks in the original art. I see 8 or 9 peaks here. 2 of them are higher than the rest, but they're not as close together as the twin peaks in Breath of the Wild. Was this maybe like the Emperor's new clothes, where everybody said he saw the twin peaks just because he didn't want to sound stupid? Oh, I also don't really see what the picture has to do with the new year. It's a dawn of a new day, but that's about it. Still, this is probably prettier than something dark with fireworks or something. Then you may have noticed almost daily rumors about when Breath of the Wild will come out. I know we'll find out in just 4 days, but let's go through them real quick. Basically, several sources now say that Breath of the Wild is on schedule again for a launch in March, but perhaps not for Europe and the rest of the PAL regions. Apparently the translations of the game aren't ready yet. I'm European myself, so this really bothers me. I can't stand the idea that others will have beaten the game while I still need to begin. Launching the Switch without Zelda here would be a big blunder. In this day and age, such a big game really should launch worldwide. Nintendo has been pretty good at this the last few years, so it's weird to see them mess it up for their most anticipated game in years. There are a few ways they could solve it. They could throw extra money at the localization, although that's never as simple as it sounds. They could release the game only in English and add additional languages with patches when they're done a month later or so. That's how they added Spanish and French subtitles to Xenoblade Chronicles X. Then, if Nintendo really won't release the game on time in Europe, there could be one more way to avoid having to wait very long. The chances are big that the Switch won't be region locked. This would mean it can play games from anywhere in the world without having to worry about the region. Then, in Europe you could technically import Breath of the Wild. But shipping from America is expensive. It can take up to 3 weeks unless you pay even more for faster shipping. So it's not a great solution either. Well, we should find out in a few days. I'll be covering all the Breath of the Wild news we'll get at the Switch event, so lots of videos incoming. I'll also probably join RFMH Gaming's live YouTube stream, where we will watch the event together. I'll announce the stream whenever I know more. If anyone wants to follow me on anything beside YouTube, Google Plus is probably your best option. It uses the same account as for YouTube, so that's convenient. It lets me post messages, share other videos that I really like, etc. And you can also get a notification every time I upload a new video. I will try to make a video with predictions and hopes for the Switch event, so keep on the watch for that. Until then, let me know what you think about last week's news. I'm Stefan and you've been watching Zelda Pod Smashers.